You are listening to the Martial Arts Lifestyle Podcast, where each week we have a conversation with everyday martial arts practitioners. From the first motivation to train, martial arts enriches our lives and becomes a lifestyle. Welcome to the individual stories of those martial artists living that lifestyle. You are listening to the abbreviated version. For those of you checking this out on YouTube, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. Full-length versions of this podcast can be subscribed to at our Patreon page, is www.patreon.com/malmag. Or individual full-length episodes can be purchased at our Gumroad page at malmag.gumroad.com. Before we begin this week's program, I would like to remind you to check out martialartslifestylemagazine.com to see articles on the martial arts. Click on the Store tab to find products for the practice of Southeast Asian martial arts, featuring Timmy B's brand sticks. Check out the Courses tab, currently featuring a course on the Dos Manos method of the Filipino martial arts. Also check out our Places to Train page, featuring top quality martial art academies from around the world. And of course, check out our events page for seminars and events coming up around the world. To see your school listed in our Places to Train page or your event on our events calendar, contact us at malmagonline@gmail.com. This week, I get on Zoom and I talk to the United Kingdom, and I talk with my good friend Carl Jackson, and we talk about how he got involved in martial arts, getting abandoned at a Shaolin Temple in China, the duality of training a traditional martial art and eclectic martial art at the same time, the first time going to the Inosanto Academy of Martial Arts in California, why he started a school, and those humbling moments in the martial arts, and much more. Sit back and enjoy. Welcome to the Martial Arts Lifestyle Podcast, and today I'm on Zoom and I'm connecting to one of my favorite places to connect to. We call it the other side of the pond. I think they say the same thing over there to us, the Atlantic Ocean being the big pond and the United Kingdom being the place that I'm talking to. A place full of all kinds of fantastic, phenomenal martial artists, and today's guest is one of those people I put in that category, and someone I know from the Inosanto instructor camps and such, and we hit it off really well, and I thought we'd have probably a pretty fun conversation. So, Carl Jackson, welcome to the show. Your show, we should say.
Thank you. Thank you.
My show, but your show. It belongs to whoever I'm talking to.
Excellent. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. Like I said, it's the first one of these that I've done, so hope you're going to find it interesting.
Yeah, indeed. And I think I've bugged you a couple of times that you've come to visit about it, and we finally got it together.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. So, why don't we'll just kind of start at the beginning. How did you get involved in martial art training?
Well, how I began is how pretty much everyone begins. I think I was probably 11, 12 years old. Started doing judo. My mum had done judo when she was younger, so I started doing that. Did that for a few years, did a few tournaments. Then life, kind of teenage years kick in, stopped doing it. Started university, and just as a bit of context, I've never ever sort of got into fights. I've never had bullying, I've never had, a need to defend myself. Yeah, I've always had this paradoxical desire to learn how to fight. And I remember at university, when I was in house shares, I was always trying to get the other guys in the house to start up Taekwondo. That seemed like a good thing to be doing. No one was interested, so I just didn't really bother. Continuing at university, when I was in Manchester, I just about to finish, and I was working in a nightclub, quite a well-known one. It's pretty good. And there was a Wing Chun club above the nightclub, and just one day before we were opening, Sifu came down just for a drink. He had the Wing Chun thing on, so we started chatting. Started training with him, and then, to be honest, it kind of escalated pretty quickly. I was training with him for, it must have been no more than 9 months, and in those 9 months we'd already had a seminar with Yip Chun, Yip Man's elder son, so I didn't even put any sort of weight to how important that was. And I think that after 9 months of training, I went traveling, the first stop of which was China. And, my intention was I was going to be going from China, working up way through Tibet, Nepal, India, that sort of thing, taking 6 months to do that. First day in Beijing, and this was back in um, 97 or 98. So China wasn't really open then. I feel old saying that, but China wasn't really open. Weren't really like places to film. It was kind of like the old stereotype, just lots of people, lots of bicycles.
Yeah. And that's
My
an
other
interesting
traveling,
thing. If you're a little older, like, I remember those years quite well
yeah,
as well. And it's like when people think of China, they think of the sort of modern city, big economic power that it is now, but they don't think of, that 80s. Yeah, it was a kind of closed off. There was the whole
it was very
uh,
close then.
you're right. There
Yeah,
was a movement,
very close.
people have probably seen at least memes or art of the Tiananmen Square, but they have no idea what that is and when it was and what it was about. And, that was sort of the beginning of the change. It didn't really go democratic, but it certainly turned into this big economic thing that it is now.
Yeah, I mean, and this really was coming out of the well, of that age. I mean, they still had the
Yeah,
friendship
exactly.
schools where Chinese people couldn't go in. It was only generally foreign business people who could go into these shops. But anyway, so I was in Beijing, having a pretty miserable time. No one spoke English. I didn't speak Chinese. I'm vegetarian as well, which threw another spanner in the works. So things weren't going great. So I'm just trying to get the hell out of Beijing. But right, let's go and see these terracotta warriors. Flicking through the Lonely Planet, again, probably marking my age. And it turned out that Shaolin was a thing. The Shaolin Temple was a thing,
Oh,
which I
wow.
just thought was some sort of equivalent to Shangri-La, like a mythical place, a made-up story, a fantasy. Turns out it wasn't. Um, so, quick pivot. Thought, right, let's go and have a look at this. So went to Beijing Station. Bear in mind, it's all there's no English script at all, and how the Chinese words are written don't phonetically make a lot of sense. So I was
Right.
going to a place called Jiangzhou, which spelt out is Zhengzhou. So I was kind of going
Hmm.
to the place going, I want to go to Zhengzhou. And they're like, no, next. So I kind of got the book out, pointed to this, and ended up on this train. And it must have been about at least a day and a half, 2 days. And I didn't really know if I was going to the right city. I was just in China. Everyone's staring at me. I'm just thinking, this is a massive mistake. Should have gone back to Thailand. Get there, get to some hotel. Again, I've not really eaten for a few days. And I was just literally walking around, fed up. And some woman sort of just runs up to me and goes, Shaolin sir, Shaolin sir, Shaolin sir. And I was like, you know what? That sounded a bit like Shaolin. That's, can't get any worse. Let's go for it. So I ended up in a minibus. And this was about probably a good 2 hour journey because I was in this big sort of industrial town. And this was this big journey out. Again, no idea, just full of Chinese tourists, this little minibus, sort of 12 of us. I was the only white face, everyone's staring at me. But we get there, and we're in the Shaolin Temple. And it was like, this is incredible. I cannot believe I'm here. This is amazing. And it was like these kids in all the robes with the swords jumping around. I was kind of just getting lost in myself, walking around the temple. This is fantastic, amazing. Loads of photos. Right, better get myself back. Go back to the car park, and the bus was gone, and they just left me.
Uh-oh. Oh,
They just
no.
they literally left me. So all I had on me, I had my camera, my Lonely Planet, and a bottle of water, and that was it. A passport and money and stuff. Everything else was 2-3 hours away in this big city with me of no way of knowing how to get back there. So panic starts to set in. Sort of frantically looking around, at least for some sort of semblance of a bus stop to kind of get back to where all my possessions are. And then I see these three Westerners walking down. I couldn't really call it a road, but this little dirt track, and they all have these big staffs. And I was just like, "Hey guys, hey, anyone speak English here?" And bear in mind, this is like 6 to 9 months after I started training. So, like I said, escalated quickly.
Right.
And they were like, yeah, no worries. Come, we're staying at a school just up the hill. You come with us. We'll show you how to get back the next day. So I'm like, oh, this is getting better. This is amazing. I'm actually going to spend a night in Shaolin. This is incredible. We get there, and it's incredibly basic. I mean, more basic than a prison cell. I mean, just breeze block building, just metal bunk beds, no mattresses, nothing like that. I'm like, this is incredible. Come and train with us, come and train. I'm just in my combats and big hiking boots. I think, yeah, you'll be fine, you'll be fine. So we were just doing this training. not particularly much stuff, but we're just doing this training, and the sun's setting over the mountains. This, the Shaolin
Oh,
Temple in the distance. I'm like, guys, can I stay? I'm like, yes, of course, stay with us. This would be great. So they sort of gave me the directions. Went back to the hotel that I was staying at, which was a whole day trip. Got my stuff, headed back, and ended up staying there for 2 months. Sort of sacked off the rest of China, stayed as long as I actually had to get a visa extension, which technically you couldn't do at that time, but I managed to get one, and then carried on traveling after that. So when I came back after 6 months away, and I carried that staff that I got from Shaolin literally all the way through Tibet, trekking up through the Himalayas, up to Everest, all the way through,
wow.
all the way through India, managed to get it all the way back, still in my gym at home now. I was hooked. I was like, right, okay, what can I do? And so straight back to the Wing Chun place, training with the Sifu there. But this is great. This is really good. I need to do more though. And he was only training twice a week. And the walk that I had from the bus stop to get up to where his gym was, which is above where I used to work, there was another little place that was Jeet Kune Do. I didn't really know. I mean, I knew Bruce Lee. I knew the films. wasn't a huge fan or anything. It wasn't that he wasn't my driving force to get into training at all. But that was a place. I mean, that could have been a Muay Thai, it could have been a karate, it could have been Taekwondo, but it was just on my journey past. So I went straight in there. Said, I want to do more training. I've done a little bit of this. Can I sign up? And he's like, yeah, yeah. So we did a beginner's course. And because I'd just come back from traveling, finished university, life's in a bit of flux, I ended up deciding to move down south to London. So I pretty much finished this 6 weeks beginner course with a guy called Steve Powell in Manchester. And I just said, I'm really enjoying this. Is there anywhere in London that teaches this? And he didn't check anything. He just got a pen out and he wrote down this address, postcode included, and hands me this. And this was the Bob Breen Academy. And that bit of paper, I mean, I've not even really talked about this before, but that bit of paper pretty much changed the course of my life from that point until now. Joining up with the Bob Breen Academy pretty much within a week of starting London, that just opened everything. I still continued with the Wing Chun. Again, I just asked my Sifu in Manchester, anywhere that does this, and it turns out there was someone under the same association, really, really near to where I was moving into. So I was training there once a week, and then I started at Bob's, I think just twice a week, and then that just ramped up, ramped up, ramped up. So that was in '99, and as I said before, I was meant to be training with him today. So here we are, 26 years later.
That worked out.
So that's yeah, yeah. So that's
I
how it
love
started.
this.
Like I said,
My
that
God,
was
I love that story of like snatching like an awesome, probably one of the most awesome experiences anyone could ever have from what could have been the most disastrous trip ever, right?
oh yeah, yeah.
That
It
is
could have been,
that is really great.
but yeah, it was. And that really has shaped the course of everything. Everything, all the things that I've done, all the competing that I've done, all the other training that I've done. I mean, in some way or other, it comes back to him. It all comes back to him. All the teachers that I've had, all the experiences that I've had, it all really comes back to him in some way or another. Maybe by
Right.
many degrees of separation, but there is no true separation from any of it.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's great. Of all the times that we've talked, I didn't realize that so you're originally from Manchester?
No, I'm from Southport,
Okay.
which no one had ever heard of until a few months ago. And that awful thing happened. Um, but yeah, that's a little seaside town, 10 miles north of Liverpool. Very quiet, sort of very idyllic life, sort of pretty much by the beach. Not like your beaches, but we're still by the beach, by
Right.
nature. And then I sort of gradually became more and more urbanized. Went to university in Manchester, which was great, and then did the natural migration that so many of us do, and sort of moved down to London. And like I said,
Ah,
since
yeah.
69, very settled.
I just asked because you brought up Manchester, and I've been there two, three times. I've got a college friend there,
Hmm.
so that I visit, when I can, and so I'm familiar with it. It's a very gritty city. To say the least.
Well, it's gritty, but it's very because it's
Charming.
so
and charming at the same
So
time.
small compared to London. It's so small. It's very
Yeah,
easy to get around, and the community is a lot more, I don't know, accessible.
yeah,
Yes, I'm kind of harking back to university days when there's a lot more leisure time, and your community is far bigger than it is when you're, you know,
right.
older. Not at university, when you've got things to do, things to get up for in the morning, so to speak.
But you'll probably have a laugh. I'm pretty sure when I visited my friend the first, he was a friend of mine from the University of Miami, and we went to school together in Miami in the 97, 98 year. And so summer of 98, I
I
visited
was
him
there.
there. What's that?
I was there then. That's
You were
when I was
there?
there. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah, and I think I still have a towel and three shirts drying on his clothesline in the backyard.
They'll still be
All the
there.
rain
I'm sure.
washed it. And I'm like, it's too wet for me to pack. I got to leave it.
Hmm. Probably still wet as well. They get a lot of rain.
Exactly. It's what I'm thinking. But my God, what a fun couple trips that was for me there, because he would load me up in a car and he's like, okay, and he like drove me to Liverpool and he drove me to God, what's the because he was a big fan. He was a boxer, so that's what he did, and we used to train together. And he liked that one big time boxer that was from Sheffield, I think. Was it Prince Nassim? I
Oh,
think
Princess.
back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Super. Yeah.
We like went to one of his gyms, the gritty one in
Mm.
Sheffield, and actually trained and did a little sparring with the guys there. That was kind of fun. And so I think in a car, I've been around a lot of what is easily an hour to 2 hours away from Manchester. I've been to it in a car.
Whilst I was in
Yeah,
this, was in the region as well. Yes.
yeah, it's fun. So it's nice. I get a little idea of your college town anyway.
Yeah. But that
So
was a
out
long
of
time.
yeah, so
Yeah.
out of curiosity, what in that time period when you were kind of looking around for martial arts, what was actually available to you there? Because I'm always
I
curious
don't
as
know.
to what's
I
available
don't
or
know. I
what you
heard
saw.
stories. I mean, what I saw was pretty much based on the student fairs when they just have, all the various student clubs. They just have representatives, and you kind of just go around and have a look. So my memory was a lot of taekwondo.
Hmm.
I remember there was a few guys that trained Lao Gar. I think Thai boxing was reasonably big there. But then I found my way into the Wing Chun, which wasn't a particularly big school, and the JKD school as well, which was
Okay.
significantly bigger. And that was, yeah, both were in full-time premises. But it seemed to be pretty vibrant, but I was very much on the outside of it. I mean, the doorman at the club I was working at, most of them were training Thai. That's what I remember. I
Hmm.
remember thinking, wow, you are big, you are scary, and you can probably kick people in the head. And and they needed to be because it was quite, the
Right.
clubs at that time of Manchester were pretty rough indeed. So yeah,
I can believe it because I'd never seen this before. When I came out there at the airport, I saw a group of what I would call trolls, just literally hanging out where everyone comes out, to meet whoever's picking you up. These guys are a group of 4 or 5 guys just sitting there, literally just making fun loudly of everyone coming out the door. I've never
yeah,
seen anything like this
yeah,
before. Like these are just a bunch of hooligans, like fucking with people. That's pretty
yeah,
funny.
yeah, yeah. That's just norm. That's the norm.
Yeah, and I thought this must be normal because no one's really doing anything
Yeah,
about it. I'm like,
yeah.
okay. I'm like, imagine, put them in a bar setting. Yeah, you better if you're a doorman, you probably better have some skills because you have to deal
They
with
probably wouldn't
three
let
or
him in
four
the
or
bar.
five
That's the
people.
thing. Keep him out of there. Yeah.
That's right. Well, what's interesting there is the list that you talked about had a lot more Chinese martial arts than I would say were ever available in most communities in the United States, unless they had a significant Chinese community in it, which has always
Manchester
been an
has a
interesting thing.
significant Chinese community. It does. We
Yeah.
have a Chinatown there.
Oh yeah, I've been to it.
Um,
God, now I
there's
think
a
about it. Yeah.
Chinatown. And then one thing I do remember, there was, and again, this was all lost on me at the time. There was, looking back now, there was an amazing martial arts bookshop there. I
Oh.
think since it was a it was quite a renowned Wing Chun guy who passed away like a long, long time ago who ran it. But I think in interviews that I've read since, this was a bit of a focal point for the Manchester martial arts community. I just remember walking in and just thinking, wow, this is crazy. There was like all the normal stuff, but then there was like ninja assassin books on Dim Mak, how to levitate. And this was like, pre-internet, pre all of that. And it was like, what is this? This is like witchcraft stuff. I'm sure a lot of it was nonsense, but with all the good stuff in there as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've not thought about this for forever. Really. This
That's
is going back
cool.
a long time.
Yeah. Well, then you obviously got, steered into a really good place in London with Bob. And then you were studying Wing Chun in addition to it.
Yeah, well, it wasn't quite an addition; it was parallel, and that was very interesting.
Yeah.
I've always been very loyal, both to my instructors and to the arts, and it really didn't cross my mind not to continue the study in the system and the organization that I was in already. It didn't cross my mind. It was like, okay, I'm doing this. Where can I do this? Where I'm going to? So it was a straight fit coming over, and it's a bit weird moving in. I don't want to sort of badmouth anything, but it was a bit weird going into the Wing Chun club because I'd been doing it for a while. I think I'd got graded up to green sash, and when I joined the club, there was no one else of my grade in there, which was so that was a little bit of tension there. And then I could never tell if my Sifu thought I was there to test him, and I just wasn't. I'm not about ego at all. I'm just there to learn. But I wasn't ever sure if he thought that, and there was always the sense that I was an outsider coming in. But I stuck to it, like I said, loyal to the system. I stuck to all the challenges that got thrown at me on a regular basis. Oh yeah, you go and cheese out with him. Come out with scratches on my face and everything. I stuck with it, and got up to just prior to grading at black. Literally finished the dummy form, finished the back jump do form, was about to start the pole, and there was just, I guess some differences of opinion and with my Sifu, and I just had to make the break, and it was very, very hard to do so. I had my black belt coming up with Bob, and that was quite a traumatic break because it was my roots. It was the roots.
And this concludes the abbreviated version of the podcast. Please consider supporting the program by going to www.patreon.com/MALMAG and subscribing to the show. You can also purchase this individual episode or any individual episode at our Gumroad page. That's malmag.gumroad.com. Thank you for listening to this episode with Carl Jackson. Coming up next week, I connect to New York City and I talk to my good friend Luigi Cuellar of New Breed Martial Arts. Our Malmag online store at martialartslifestylemagazine.com has a full selection of Timmy B's brand sticks for FMA and Krabiker Bong. Timmy B's brand now selling in Japan as well. Beautiful Timmy B's brand shirts and Dos Manos shirts are available. We also have sarongs, malongs, and wooden training knives. An online course in the Dos Manos method for FMA is available under the Courses tab. More courses coming soon. Check out the Places to Train tab to find schools near you, and click on the Events Calendar page to see what seminars and events are happening all around the world. And of course, visit our main page for articles on the martial arts. Music by Arthur J. Martial Arts Lifestyle Magazine and the Martial Arts Lifestyle Podcast are trademarked and copyrighted by TNT LLC.